Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of Dirt Road Salvation. Um, in this episode, we're going to talk about maintenance cost, how to save money on your maintenance, and you know what taking your vehicle to a shop versus doing it yourself is going to cost. So before we get started, do me a favor, y'all. Drop down there, hit that like button, share us out, and maybe thinking about subscribing, or just leave me a comment and tell me I'm a goof. That's okay too. But anyway, where's everybody at tonight? I've got one person in the chat. They say they're in Kansas City, Missouri. Well, sounds like they're getting that big Kansas City money, is what I'm hearing. That's usually a pretty good place to get freight from. So, anyway, so other than that, how's everybody doing this evening? It's been a very wet, rainy, boring day where I've been here in ye old Charlotte. But such is the way of life, can't be helped sometimes. So, anyway, just kind of a humid day with a whole lot of nothing going on. It's a good weekend for a 34. And by the way, happy 4th of July, everybody. When y'all are out launching off some fireworks and you're having your cookouts and whatever, just take a couple minutes, remember the reasons and that we actually get to celebrate this holiday and why we are a free country, and just take a moment and thank those around you for their and that have served our country for their sacrifices and the things that they've done to be able to allow us to have this freedom to live in the best country in the world. So, anyway. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right into this class. And then afterwards, we're going to go into a Q&A section in case anybody has questions or has things that I didn't cover that they're curious about, or just anything whatsoever trucking related or business related that I may be privy to. And if I don't have the answer, I will be more than happy to direct you into the right place where you can get the answers to the things that you're looking for. So, without further ado, let's bring in our look at here. I did a thing. I did a PowerPoint. Can y'all believe this? Look how far we've come in our broadcast. Drop a comment down below if y'all know what death by PowerPoint is. Come on now. So, anyway, so the title of what we're doing here and what we're going to conversate about is how can we save money on maintenance? And I know there's a plethora of different things that happen. We're not always able to do everything ourselves. Life happens, tires blow out when it's hot, airlines pop when they've been rubbed too raw and we can't find them, any number of things. The AC compressor goes out, and you kind of can't drain, vacuum, and refill and on the side of the road. You might be able to put the condenser on or the AC compressor on the side of the road, but you're not going to be able to vac the system, and so you can do it properly. So anyway, why is your head exploding there, Mister New Hampshire lone wolf? But anyway, so like I said, there are exceptions to what I'm about to say, just the same as there's exceptions to every situation. But beyond that, let's get into it here. So let's talk here first of all. What does it cost at a shop? So Love's, I called them today, and this is word for word verbatim what they told me. Love's on, and we're talking PM service here, basic maintenance. Change the oil, drop the filters, replace the filters, grease the frame, grease the fifth wheel, check the differentials, refill the differentials, tire pressure, the whole works when it comes to an annual PM service that you do. Every every 18 to 20,000 is what I'm doing. Some manufacturers say 40, 50. I've heard some people even saying something as crazy as like 100,000 miles on a PM service, which I am not even cool with that whatsoever. But anyway, yeah, we figured out PowerPoints. Look at that. We're climbing up in the world here. So anyway, yeah, it's mostly just a way to keep me on track. So anyway, so my question, how much do y'all pay for a PM? Because this is the Love's price here. $440 to $479. And the labor rate for any labor they do is $119 per hour. To me, that's a little bit high on the labor, but that's it. Oh, sorry, I'm late. Hey, Mark, you're still getting here on time. We just started, buddy. So, tonight we're going over how to save money on maintenance costs. I got some numbers to break down. I used my truck as an example. So, without further ado, I will get back to it. And if you missed that question, Mark, I'm looking to see how much people pay for a PM. Drop a comment below and let me know. And also, how often do y'all service your truck? That's another one. So, but anyway, so Love's charges $119 an hour per just flat labor rate. That's what they charge, whether they're changing a tire or they're changing a brake chamber or they're changing whatever. That's their rate, $119 an hour. And just PM in general is $479 to $440. Okay. So what about a different shop? Let's look at TA Petro. TA Petro says when I called them today, they charge $463.92 with $120 hour labor rate. And both Love's and TA and Petro, their labor rate, the $120 and the $119, they're all included in the above listed price for that. So, I mean, to me, that's a little high for a PM service. So, again, y'all drop a comment below and y'all let me know how much are y'all paying for a PM and how often do you service your truck? Like I said earlier, I'm a every 18 to 20,000 miles guy. I follow what my manufacturer specifies and the things of that nature. So, all right. One other option. What about our carrier shop? A lot of places, if you're leased onto a carrier, if they have shops, you can get into their shop and you can use their shops and get into their labor rate and their prices and things of that nature. I and some of the other people, there you go. Mark says he pays $210 at our yard. So when I get this is what USA truck where me, Mark, and I believe New Hampshire Lone Wolf are all leased onto. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, guys. The last time I had a PM done, they charged at our shop, which was well over a year ago before I got established where I'm at and got my shop up and running. They charged me $350 for a full PM, and their labor rate is $70 an hour. But they only do bolt-on stuff, PMs, brakes, pulley parts like alternators, compressors, AC compressors, things of that nature, and wheel seals. They don't do, tires, or they don't actually break the engine open and start working on it, like doing valve adjustments and things of that nature. So anyway, yep, New Hampshire Lone Wolf agrees. So, and $350 for PM, or in Mark's case, he's saying $210. That's not bad. I mean, I don't know. What yard are you getting it at for $210? Because Tip City's been charging me $350. But anyway, so, when you do it at our carrier's yard or the carrier that you're leased onto, you may be able to get better prices than the TAs, the Petro, your Kenworths, things of that nature. Quit tank. Anyway, so you're not always getting raked across the coals. In some places you are. I've for the last time I went to my local dealership, I got an oil change, a PM done. They checked everything out and they changed my air dryer, and my local Kenworth was like $780. So that was like when I first got my truck, I had them go through it after I'd picked this thing up before I'd start taking it to our shops and got my shop established. So anyway, so what if we do it ourselves? And these are based off numbers off of where I am sourcing my parts and my stuff for. And I'm going to have to move my big head here out of the way because apparently my big head takes up everything down here in the corner. So I buy oil by the 55-gallon drum. I get it for $550 a barrel. And at 11 gallons, it gives me 5 PMs at $10 a gallon. So that's $101 just in oil per PM. One filter runs $42.79, one runs $65, one runs $50. Total filter cost is $157.79, and 2 tubes of grease to grease everything on the truck and the fifth wheel. So that brings me, for my cost doing it myself, to $277.79. That is my price that I pay for it. So already out the gate, what I've been paying at all of my other shops, just by doing this myself, I'm already free and clear just in what I've bought and what I keep in stock and my resources, to where I'm way below. Mark's beat me by at his price at 210, but where I'm at compared to the resources I have around me and the shops that are around me, I'm saving some money because I'm running cheaper. So let's look here. How much does that save us a year? So if you do your PMs, like the previous equation, with the oil will last approximately 6 months based on a 20,000 PM service or 20,000 mile PM service. Let's use Love's for example. Love's charges $479 on the high end. I do it for $277.79. You take $479 minus $277.79. That gives you $201.21 in savings per PM service that I do myself. Take that times 12 months, and you get a savings of $2,414.52 in savings per year just in PMs alone. To me, that seems like it's pretty good. It's not everybody has the mechanical aptitude that I have, but we're just using this as an example. If you can start doing any type of maintenance yourself, you're going to save yourself money rather than giving that money to an overpriced shop or a road call. Because if you could catch it while you're home, that'll save you from the breakdown later on down the road. At least that's my philosophy. Right here, how I look at it, $2,400 a year saved just by doing my PMs myself. That's money that I can tuck back, save away. Heck, that right there pays for my entire year's oil for the next year just in savings, if it's $550 a barrel. So where do I source parts from? So let's get my big head out of here again. So the number one place that I source my parts from, being, brake chambers, brake pads, rotors, or not rotor. Yeah, I got rotors on the front of my truck and drums on the rear, things of that nature. I source them from my local Napa Auto Parts. Not only do they specialize in automotive, but they also do heavy equipment and CMV parts also. And I'm able to get also able to get or order any tool that I may need usually. And also, speaking of that, also, you can go in there with them and set up a business account, and you can get discounts on those parts, which equates to even more savings because we are generating a business partner. So that brings the next question. What's y'all's favorite products out there that y'all get? And where do y'all like to buy parts from? So anyway, fluids and greases I source from my local Rural King and or Tractor Supply, since they allow me to buy in bulk and they will ship either directly to my house or to the store. I also search for filters and parts on eBay or Amazon if Napa does not have them or if the wait is too long. And lastly, I will use my local dealership, which is my local Kenworth shop. I don't have anything against going to the dealership. They usually generally always have everything in stock I'm looking for, but they charge out the wazoo. Prime example, there's 2 types of water pumps for my truck. Both of them are interchangeable. Kenworth will not carry the one water pump where you just take the pump off and leave the water pump housing, which is $180, maybe $200 if you source it from the right place. They sell the water pump with the water pump housing, and it's $660. So why would I spend in that? It's little things like that. The dealership, they got to make money too, and they don't always have what you're looking for in stock, especially if the parts are interchangeable and can be used and run just fine either way. So let me know if y'all run into that. Let's see. So should you buy over the road or local? When you shop at places that are over the road, you will pay a premium for those parts and tires. I can back this up all day long. And it says, I will always recommend to build relationship with local tire shops, parts distributors, and your local mechanics. Not only will they save you money, but they will take better care of you as well. And the more time you spend building that relationship with those mechanics, those tire shops, those parts distributors, the better they're going to know you, and the better that relationship between their business and your business is going to commingle and exist. Meaning that one hand will shake the other, and it will just work out better. There's been multiple times with my local guys that I do business with, I'll have something just completely random and off the wall pop up, and I have no idea where to get it. I'll call them up and be like, hey, look, I need a favor. And what you know, they dig through this, dig through that. They call me back an hour later and said, hey, dude, I got it for you. Come get it. You know, they tend to take care of y'all. So where do y'all prefer to get your maintenance done at? And where do you particularly source parts from? I've given out my secrets to where I source my parts from. Some of y'all might not agree, but this is how I do it. But I'm curious to see, where do y'all source parts from? And do y'all get your truck serviced, or do you service them yourselves? Like I said, I do everything that as much as I can by myself, as much as possible. So in summary, in conclusion, we're just going to keep this short, sweet, and to the point. In my personal opinion, like I said, I don't know everything when it comes to trucking, and I'm surely not the world's smartest businessman. Anyone will tell you that. But in summary, I believe it is always best to build relationships, because better rates means more money in our pockets. And at the end of the day, it's all about what we keep. And we can't be profitable if we give it all to overpriced shops when we have the ability to do a lot of it ourselves. And my biggest word of advice is going to be to educate yourself, know your equipment, and do the things that you can do yourself. So that way you can set yourself up for failure, and we can be able to run a profitable business, and I can continue to spend time and see y'all out on the road. So at the conclusion, that's the gist of our class. That's the majority of what I wanted to get on here and speak about. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Does anybody want to come in? I know New Hampshire Lone Wolf, I sent you a link because you said you wanted to come in. So I'm open to bringing you guys on, answering some questions, or whatever the case may be. So just let me know here if y'all are interested and want to come in. And there we go. I just sent that invite off again there, Mr. New Hampshire Lone Wolf. Okay. What are the basic tools we should have as owner-operators? Okay. Basic tools. Let me open up another tab here, and I will bring up my thing here. There we go. That ought to do it. So have to give me a second here. So what are basic tools we should have as owner operators? Okay. So sorry guys, I'm trying to do this on the fly here. So so everybody, here we go. We got Mr. New Hampshire Lone Wolf here. So,
you know, the lighting is definitely better in the back.
I took a long while to dial it in tonight. It was not fun.
Well, even for me, I mean, I'm using normal lights, and it's even better for me when I'm back here.
Let's see here. Share screen, Chrome tab, this one. You know what? We'll just do the window. There we go. All right. So particularly to answer your question, this is the #1 toolkit I recommend. I did a video on this about Christmas. This thing has basically, if this is an emergency, I'm on the side of the road kit. It's got 3/8, 1/2 inch, and 1/4 inch. It's got screwdrivers in there. It's got a three-tier drawer storage system. I mean, and this is everything it comes with here. You got 3 ratchets, extensions, metric, standard wrenches. You don't need them spark plug sockets. We don't have spark plugs on diesel engines. Those will get you nowhere. But it comes with 3/8 short, deep, shallow, long. Comes with a bit driver and all the different bits for it, and universal sockets for each size, and it's got adapters going to each size. That's going to be your basic tool set that I would recommend. That will fix the 98% of your problems. If it's outside of that, it's probably something that you should have.
I specifically
You should be
asked
doing
that
at home.
question for you because these are things I didn't know when I got my truck.
And then everybody needs pliers. I don't care what anybody says. These pliers are the best pliers in the entire industry. I will go to bat for Nipex. If you can get anything Nipex, they will never fail you. It's either they come off or it breaks. There's no in between. They don't let go.
That, and get yourself a good pair of needle nose pliers for when you have to replace fuses, and make sure you have fuses on your truck.
Yes. So, I mean,
Can
Nipex
you
even makes
link to a good set of fuses?
Fuses are fuses, man. I'm not
Right,
any
but something that's
in
got
particular.
like a good amount of pretty much everything you're going to need on the truck.
Yeah. As you can see, I've been shopping for tools and stuff, getting my help
Apparently that
continuing
was a
build
good
up my
question to
shop.
ask tonight because you had some of it up there already.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's this stuff over here. That's more stuff like you're gonna have at your home shop. I have found a mobile scan tool that I most definitely recommend, and this is the Diesel Laptops handheld heavy duty.
You send me a link to that?
Diesel. Yes, I did send a link. I did send you a link to that. That is correct. This one's a little bit more pricey. This is the one that I currently have, and it works very well as far as scan tools. As you can see, I purchased it October 6th last year.
Did you say it doesn't cover Volvo, though?
I have no idea. Let's see. Trucks. Cummins, Detroit, Max Force, Caterpillar, Freightliner, International, Kenworth, John Deere, Peterbilt, Sterling, Mack, PACCAR, Western Star, Volvo, Scania, and yeah.
So what are the two differences between that one and the more expensive one you showed?
This one here says it does regens. It says it will force a regen, but it will not force a regen on my truck.
All right, and the one for the Volvo that you showed, what's the difference? Or maybe I'll just look at it later. Sorry.
So this one here is you can read live data, which is this is a fantastic tool. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't do the depth that I want. For a basic starting out, this is perfectly fine. It'll let you read your codes, engine, dashboard, your chassis, your frame, transmission, any of that stuff. It will allow you to read that, and it'll allow you to clear codes, and it'll allow you to read your fuel trim, not your fuel trims, but it'll allow you to read your live data, like your coolant, your temperature, your battery, O2 sensors, NOx conversions, things of that nature. Whereas this one will allow you to force regens, and this one goes a little bit deeper. So, it's that next level. This is the in between what this one is, and actually getting a full blown like diesel laptop where you can rewrite the whole system, which I don't recommend getting unless you know what you're doing, because you can jack a lot of stuff up. So
I'll have to look at that you're talking about.
Yeah. So that, like I said, when it comes to things like that, there's not really a wrong scan tool. It's just you want to make sure you get the right one for the one that you're able to do for you, unless you know how to rewrite the system and get in there and reprogram the parameters. I don't recommend going any deeper than being able to actually read the codes, maybe erase them, bypass a D-rate to get you to a shop, or be able to force a regen if need be.
Somebody wanted to say hi. He was getting antsy.
Well, that's fine. Is there any other questions? Speaking of maintenance-wise, maintenance intervals, things of that nature. It's just kind of what this whole thing encompasses at this point in time. TikTok guy.
I'm thinking of a good one for you. Here's an interesting one then. Oil, engine oil, when you do your PMs.
Okay.
So yours and mine practically require the same thing. However,
right.
The manufacturer likes to specify specific ones because they want to be fancy. What's your take on that?
Well, how do I say this and not totally get the purists mad? Okay, I'll use my truck for an example because I'm not going to speak on Volvo. I don't know anything about Volvo trucks at this point in time. It's not in my forte. I have a Kenworth T680 with a Cummins ISX15 CM2350 in it, mated to a Eaton Auto Shift 10-speed. Okay, my truck calls for 1540 synthetic oil or conventional with a Cummins rating of 208.6, I believe, which is the equivalent of an API rating of CK4. So, based on my truck and my manufacturer and what my diagnostics manual says, it does not matter the brand of oil as long as I meet the proper rating of the oil that is mated for this engine. For a engine that has emissions and has an EGR system and diesel particulate filters and is prone to carbon packing, you're going to want an oil that has a CK4 rating, because that's not only what the manufacturer calls for, but that oil is the latest and greatest oil that is designed with heavier detergents in it to help break down that carbon packing and is designed to run on an emissions system. A pre-emissions truck can run on a totally different set of oil and standards than what mine can. Cummins has their stamp on, I think it's the Valvoline Blue Premium oil. It says it's Cummins certified. But if you turn it around and you read the API ratings on it, the oil that I buy and use in my bulk barrels has the exact same additives, the exact same MSDS sheets, and the exact same API CK4 rating, which is the equivalent to the Cummins rating. So for my truck and my research and what I have tested in my truck, oil does not really make a difference as long as you have an oil that meets the standards that the manufacturer calls for, and you change it in proper intervals and do not run extended interval oil changes. Does that make sense?
Yes, I just figured I'd get that out there because mine literally lists everything yours does, nothing different. And Volvo pretty much makes you think they have to be special about it.
So let me see if I can find this.
I figured that would be a worthwhile topic to throw in there, you know? Can you hear me or not?
Yeah, no, I can hear you. I'm looking
Okay.
at something here real quick.
I put my AirPods in, so I didn't know if you could hear me or not.
Yeah, see, like, it gets really weird. You got to make sure to check your engine and the engine plate, because my particular truck is a 2017 truck, but it has a 2013 Cummins ISX in it. I don't have a 2017 motor, which isn't uncommon. Most trucks, when you get into them, have a older model engine than what they do a as far as the truck is compared to.
Never thought of that. I'll have to check that out now that you mentioned that.
Yeah. If you check the nameplate on your engine, it will change, or it'll tell you what you have in there. Mark. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking this up here. So, yes. Okay, I got it here. So this is what I was talking about here with, oh, hold on. My camera shut off. Stupid camera. All right. Anyway, so back to here. So this is what I was talking about. This is my truck maintenance and operations for my ISX 15 EPA 13-year motor. Okay. Right here is my maintenance schedule. It's for single camshaft motor, high pressure common rail fuel system, has a DPF and SCR ECM 2350, which is the engine I have. Exhaust gas recirculation system saying it has an EGR. Oil and filter for severe duty, 20,000 mile intervals. Normal duties, 30,000 miles. Light duty is 40,000 miles. Like I said, I operate as if I'm running, on the heavy duty side of things, because it's always better to be more conservative than it is to let it run out here at 40,000 miles and damage the internals of the motor. And then it's got, it talks about when to change the fuel filters, check the DCA levels, coolant filters, crankcase filter, particulate filters, DPF valve, when to do a valve adjustment or an overhead, all that stuff. And it specifically says right here, synthetic or semi-synthetic oils may be beneficial for extreme Arctic or extreme heat conditions, but do not extend your oil drain intervals with synthetic or semi-synthetic oils. And also, 10W30 oils meeting common specifications may be used in these engines. So you gotta check these things. And there's more information you can get inside of your manufacturer's service manual that goes way into depth on these. This is just one snippet from it. Even down here, it goes into, and it's got more stuff. It talks about what the oil pressure should be, pressure range, normal oil temperatures, normal coolant temperatures, coolant temp when the fan should kick on. It gives you the basic operating standards that you should know when it's operating outside of these things, when you have a problem.
That's pretty cool.
It talks about the oil pan drain, oil pan capacity, when it's, high, lows, like mine right here, I have the stamped steel fill. So I've got an 11.5 gallon oil pan. So that's how much oil my truck takes. Total oil lubricating capacity, including the filter and residual. Total of my truck holds 13 gallons. So when I'm draining it out and I'm getting 10, I still got 3 gallons in there. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
And then it talks about the diesel exhaust information, cooling system information. And this is just 2 pages out of their service manual. That's one thing I like about Cummins is they put the stuff all up for free. Anybody can get this stuff. They don't try to hide it at all. And
a lot of that stuff is also in my manual for my truck.
So, yeah. Manual for the truck. That's a funny one. I went through and found my manual for my truck, and mine was the manual that's in this truck, and I don't know why it's in here. It shows for a 2013 Kenworth T680 and T800, and this is a 2017 model truck with a 2013 engine. So I don't know.
Well, they may have just stuck a manual in there to have it when they sold it to.
That's possible. That wouldn't surprise me.
And that's not me knocking USA. That happens everywhere,
Oh yeah, that's normal. But anyway, so did you have any other maintenance questions or things?
Not that I can think of. Anybody else got any?
Looks like we got one other person still in here. Anybody still here in the chat? Got any questions? Anybody watching? We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we're all on Twitter. So anybody on any of them have any questions or, anything or any good stories to get into? So
I'll be nice. I won't bring up my normal one for you.
No, because we're having that conversation. But, and the moral of the story is the more that you can do yourself, the more you're going to save. Like, okay, the other day, when I 2 weeks ago, I blew an airline on my truck right underneath the steps on the driver's side, right next to the air tanks. I thought I blew one of the valves on the air tank where you drain the air every day.
Ooh, yep.
Yeah. Luckily, that wasn't the case. I got out, grabbed my tools out of the truck, took the steps off, set them, and shoved them up inside the truck with the dog, which he was not happy about. He's like, Dad,
Yeah,
they'll go
dogs are funny like
outside,
that.
they don't come inside. But
Did
anyway,
you bark at him?
yeah, he did. He barked the whole time I was working on the truck. So I got underneath there, and one of the tricks for finding an air leak is you keep a spray bottle full of soapy water, chop up a bar of soap, toss it in a water jar or spray bottle, and when you spray that on something, if there happens to be an air leak, it makes bubbles, freaking bubbles. Isn't it beautiful? Soapy water makes bubbles when it's aerated. Anyway, so I got underneath there and I started spraying it around, and I sprayed the tanks. I'm like, well, none of the tanks are leaking. And then I get over to where the harness with all the different airlines and everything coming out of the tanks, where they come and they run down, and then they meet the wiring harness later on, and then run back down to the sensors on the back end of the truck. And I was spraying, and then all of a sudden what I had sprayed came back and smoked me in the face. Yeah. Let's see. Mark says he had a 9K run cancel and 210 cost that he paid for oil. Dude, was it one of them Hammond loads that canceled on you that caused you to lose that 9K load? Because that's what got me the last time. But yeah, 210 for oil is not bad. But so I got underneath there and I was looking. You can see where the airlines came off of the air tanks and then met up with everything and then ran it out the back. So I got the soapy water out and I started spraying everything around. And then all of a sudden it just blew back and hit me in the face. And it was not a baptism that I was prepared for. I was quite offended by the amount of gunk that had blown in my mouth because it was hot. I had my mouth open because I was sweating everywhere. And I got hit in the mouth with dirty air and soapy water. And I haven't had my mouth washed out with soap since I was like 4. I was not pleased.
Yummy.
But, I found the airline. I went inside the TA. I cut the bat out, disconnected the airline from the disc quick connect, took that little section of hose in, walked into the TA, handed him the hose, said, I don't want you to fix it. I want a quick connect, and I want that razor blade, and I want that pack of zip ties. I went back out, grabbed my pair of side cuts, undid the zip tie so I could pull everything apart and be able to work on the wire or the air hose. And I put the quick connect on one end, slapped the good part where I'd cut the bad part out into the other end, and then shoved it right back up in the quick connect going to the air chamber, or not air chamber, but the air tank. Zip tied everything back together, trimmed off the ends, and actually had it wound up tighter than what everybody else did the last time they were in there. And haven't had an air leak since, and nothing's moving up and down, causing it to rub anymore. That whole ordeal, I spent $20. And because, like I said, I had to go to the TA. I was in a parking lot blowing air everywhere. I wasn't driving to go anywhere. So I didn't have a choice. Went in there, I spent $20 in parts for the air fitting, the razor blade, and the zip ties. And then 30 minutes later, I was done. No more air leak, and I hold better air than what I did before it happened. It's little things like that and learning a diagnostic process on these trucks that will allow you to do simple, easy stuff like that and save you money. If I'd have put that in the shop to do that, not only would they have charged me a minimum of 2 hours diag time, which would have been $240, plus the $20 in parts, plus their markup on the parts for them doing it, and
plus a minimum of an hour for them
EPA
doing it.
fees. I'd have been in it for, if they were nice to me, $200. If they were really nice to me, maybe $50 if I told them where the leak was. But, I spent $20 and saved myself a couple $100 by doing it myself.
I got another request for you.
Hold on. Fishers, Indiana. Also, how long should we idle trucks before turning off the truck at the end of the day? That is a beautiful question. I have been bad about that in my younger years as a truck driver. As of late, since I bought my truck, I've been doing extensive research on idle cool down time, idle warm up time to make sure everything has oil in it. Most manufacturers recommend, if you run it, let your truck idle for about 3 minutes. That's what the manufacturer recommends. My recommendation is a little bit higher. But the reason being is when your turbo, when you come into the truck stop, is spooled up, just zip, 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 just whistling, and that oil is in there. Well, the minute you kill your engine, that oil stops going to the turbo. So what's happening when you do that and you immediately shut your truck down without allowing it to cool and the turbo to stop spooling and slow down on its rotation, you're causing it to spin and rotate inside there and create premature wear on your turbo. So the manufacturer that I've seen, most of them recommend about 3 to 5 minutes. I personally recommend 5 to 10 minutes, especially if you've been getting into it and you're in some super hilly terrain, to allow that time for your engine to come back down to its normal idle temp and allow that turbo to stop spooling and spinning so bad, so that way it's not sitting there running a million miles a minute with no oil in there and just to a stop. So that's my personal recommendation. I know fuel's high and it's all about conserving fuel, but what good does it? I mean, it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, in a 5-day week, if you work, that's an extra hour of idle time. That's 0.7 gallons or an hour or a gallon total a week. That's not too bad. Great question, Mark. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's one thing that I've been spending a lot of time studying is proper cool down times and things of that nature, especially with these hotter weather that we've been running in. Yeah. Carry on. What were you saying there, bud?
So as far as extra parts that you should carry on your truck, like air hoses, stuff like that, what do you recommend?
Okay, I recommend an extra pigtail, an extra red line, an extra blue line from your truck to trailer, about a 3-foot section of radiator hose, the type that comes out of the fire. Well, that's for my truck. If you have a Kenworth with the Cummins in it, you're going to want a 3-foot section of radiator hose or heater hose, so that way when you start leaking from out of the firewall where the lines come back down and recirculate or go back to your APU, those lines are notorious for leaking. You always want to carry some extra heater hose for that. And then if you can, in the wintertime, I recommend that you carry extra fuel filters because they gum up with the anti-gel and then we don't get as good a quality fuel. But the big thing is watch your stuff. Like on my truck, for example, water pumps go out every 300,000 miles. So I get about 200,000 miles. I can get an water pump, keep it on the truck. You can't always carry everything on the truck, but, keep an eye on things, carry extra fuel filters, carry extra hose, extra air hose, carry fuses, quick connects, different types for airlines, because we got all kinds of different airlines, things like that. Let's see. Do you both have an APU? I bought a generator and a upright AC vented to window. My MPG went from 8.6 to 10.9. I have an APU on an older truck, and with running my APU, on the high end, I'll get 7.5 to the 8 miles per gallon. And then on the low end, I sit 6.8 to 7.5. That also depends on how fast I'm running too. My loads have been booked pretty tight. I've been running coast to coast the last couple of weeks, and I've not been allotted the time to be able to putt around at 62, 65 mile an hour. So
I don't have a good estimate with that yet. I'm going to get my Idle Smart repaired or reinstalled or whatever, which is happening next week. Not this coming week, the week after. Then I'll be able to give better estimates. I have an EPU, which is basically an electric APU. It's all batteries, 4 batteries back on the catwalk.
I got you. But speaking of your AC system you have set up, I'm not going to lie, that tri-pack out there, if I keep having to work on it every month just because that's my luck, I'm going to take that son of a gun off the frame and go do exactly what you're doing and grab me a generator and put it on my catwalk and run a window AC unit. You're not wrong for doing that. That's smart business. Everybody should be doing that right now if they don't have an APU. So, not to be that guy, but Cassius King has an entire section of YouTube videos that's talking about that exact same setup that mimics, I believe, what you're doing there, Mark. I don't know if you got that idea from him. Let me know if you did. But it's a pretty killer setup, and some days I'm jealous because it seems like it's quieter than my APU. So
you and your little lawnmower engine back there.
Well, see, it wasn't so bad, but ever since I parked out there in that Clemens, whatever truck stop that was out there, and where is that at? It's on 40.
You talking about Klein's Corner?
New Mexico, yeah, 40 I-40. It's a Klein's truck stop in New Mexico. Someone tried to take my APU apart and steal my bottom pan, and luckily, I know how to actually tighten stuff down, so there was a couple they couldn't get out, and they just left the pan hanging and took my freaking hardware. So now I had to makeshift a way to hold my bottom pan to my APU back together. And now there's one particular flat that's back there as it's idle and going clack, 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 clack. And if the wind blows just right, it drives me bonkers. I hate it. I don't know. If I had a new APU, I don't know. I love my APU. I don't have anything against it. It's just we fight. It's like a bad marriage. It only works when I put money in it. Maybe that's like a slot machine or a slut machine, whatever you want to call it. But
isn't that a lot lizard?
No, because you can pay them to go away and shut up.
Or you can scare them away.
Let's see. Yep, that's where he got it. Cassius King. Yeah, I was watching those too, buddy. Cassius got some good stuff on there about how his setup works. I'm jealous that I didn't think of it first. But if I didn't have an APU, you best bet your sweet bippy I would be doing exactly what y'all are doing. Although I do get kind of jealous of not having an EPU because for some reason I just don't like things idling. I used to sleep with my head down there next to the APU because my TV's right there and I can just kind of turn it, boom, right there. But now I had to move to the other end because of how much the noise the APU makes. So, Mark, let me know, how quiet is that generator? Would you say it's on par with being quiet like an APU, or would you say that it's quieter? Let's see. We got another one. How are you doing cost to cost revenue wise? Are you talking like a comparison between how I'm doing here with my truck note versus New Hampshire Lone Wolf, or are you talking how I done this year versus last year?
He may have tried to say coast to coast too.
Oh, cost to cost. Oh, coast to coast revenue wise. Okay, if it's coast to coast, you were saying. Sorry, either it got typed wrong or I can't read. I am from a very, very small town in Indiana, and I speak a very specific dialect of redneck. I try not to
understatement of the year.
Anyway, coast to coast, I made after everything was free and clear, I got going out there after all expenses was $2,000, and and the only reason I booked it was because I stayed home a day longer than I planned on. I left on Tuesday or Wednesday. And I left on Tuesday, and I needed to make my nut by Saturday. I usually leave on Mondays, but I stayed home an extra day because I was feeling lazy. So that's why I took a load out to Utah. Okay, coast to coast, and it was. Well, I don't want to say the customer, but if you know where I'm talking about, it came out of Evansville, Indiana. We got to unload it ourselves. So after everything was done and said, I got $2,000 for that. And I'm running the load. I just delivered the load yesterday here in North Carolina, coming back from California, and it was a load of tires, and it was a similar rate. So coming back across, I'm sure I used a little bit more fuel because I took 40 back across because it was a straight shot. And there's a lot of hills going through Kingman, and then for the first half of New Mexico going east is all uphill till you hit about Albuquerque. And then it starts dropping back down. And then once you hit Texas and Oklahoma, it's flat. And then it starts getting back into the rolling hills into Tennessee and North Carolina. But I wouldn't say – I mean, I didn't make millions. I didn't kill it. But, I covered my nut and I made a profit. So my bills are paid for the month already. I think it's a win. It was a nice change of scenery. Normally, my main operation plan is I stay east of 35 where I can get a good fuel surcharge. But since they're breaking out the fuel surcharge on these loads, it's not so bad running the brokerage freight right now. So I hope that helps, Mark. Not a 2-liter.
Well, yeah, I bought it so I wouldn't have to buy more than 1 liter.
Man, come on. Have some manners. Pour that in a red Solo cup. Come on. Didn't your mama ever teach you not to drink out the milk jug?
Of course we drank out the milk jug.
Ugh, heathens.
Says the man who drinks out of the whole orange juice bottle.
That's mine, and I was sick.
Yeah, so you're trying to make your whole house sick that time.
No, it was mine. I put that bottle of orange juice in my pocket and took it with me the whole day. So
I remember your wife complaining about you doing that.
My orange juice. The Thunder Midget don't tell me what to do. I'm my own boss.
Be careful. One of these days, she's going to see all this. And
she's probably watching. She always watches. She's like a spy.
Come on, like Susie. Say something if you're there.
Yeah, she's one of them top super secret ninja squirrels. So we call them 68 tangos in the military. Also known as combat midget and battle dwarf. Anyway, so anybody else have any other questions or comments, concerns, gripes? Want to throw some or hate comments? We like those too because they're funny. So anyway, so what's going on with your truck? What's an update there, Mr. Hunter, while we're waiting for everybody else in here? Are you finally, you said you're getting that idle smart stuff taken care of, so I guess that's maintenance related. How much is all that going to cost you?
Well, the idle smart stuff is free because it was defective when I got the truck.
Nice.
Along with the labor should be free. The only thing I'm going to have to pay for is my initial...
All right, Mark. We'll see you next time, buddy.
Have a good one, Mark. The only thing I'll have to pay for is the initial PM that I got to get debt on because I hit my 15,000 miles.
Ooh, how much are they charging you for the PM?
I don't know. I'll probably find that out either tomorrow or Tuesday. Give you a spreadsheet? No, it's SFI that's going to be doing it.
Oh, man.
Are you lactating over there?
Nah, dude, I had a Philly cheesesteak earlier, and I'm just now realizing that, like, I got something on my shirt. I'm so sorry. I had that the whole time. Oh, such a slob. I need to do better. Anyway, so SFI doesn't. Okay, so with SFI, your maintenance, are you doing it at a Schneider shop, like Big Orange Schneider shop, or does SFI have like their own buildings?
They do it at. So SFI is owned by Schneider. If anybody doesn't know this, so they do it at specific Schneider facilities where they have the SFI buildings.
Oh man, you're the black sheep.
The ones I know of are there's one out in Arizona and Phoenix, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
There is one up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. There's one in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay. Fun times.
This will be my first time getting anything done at one of them, so maybe next time when we're on, I can actually give you some info about it.
Yeah, keep your numbers from that, and let me. I want to compare what they're charging labor-wise and things of that nature.
They said it shouldn't. Their guess when I talked to them was like 400, 450 max.
For an oil change?
Well, that's the initial one. They've got to go. They got to plug it in and make sure everything's right. And because see, the initial one is to make sure everything is running right after, or it's come out of the factory. You've been actually running it. So it could go up. It could go down. It just depends on what they actually have to do. For the most part, the oil change that's like their high quote. They didn't have necessarily a low quote for me because they don't know what to expect yet.
So here's my recommendation when you go in there. Okay. On your way there, you stop at a Walmart. Okay. You'll walk into the back section where the pregnancy and the Plan B pills are, and look next to that, and get you a bottle of Astroglide and a pack of condoms, and take it up there with you, and be like, "Please use these as you give me the green weenie." Because
hey, pretty soon that's going to be legal.
What?
Condoms.
Why would that be illegal?
Oh, we overturned Roe vs. Wade, so I mean, next thing we know, condoms are going to be illegal.
No, that's not even. We're not getting into that. All that's not even an
you
accurate
went there.
statement. That's not even an accurate statement. We're not getting into that.
It's a joke, you know that, and everybody else should kind of know that because I was chuckling as I said it.
Yeah, well, there's some real winners in the world that we don't talk politics here. So, anyway, but yeah, that's pretty much the gist of everything I got for this. I have a whole lot of just kind of I've been stewing on this for a while. And I've been getting a lot of maintenance questions, and apparently I've been fighting with a lot of people.
I got a good one. I got another good one for you.
Okay.
When it comes
come on there, Zinger.
When it comes to hand tools, power tools, what brand do you recommend?
What you can afford.
Okay, if cost isn't necessarily a huge thing for you, or if you
That's
could.
Not fair.
Okay, give us a budget and give us a high end.
Okay, I mean, I'm partial to Snap-on and Matco. I like Mac because I can order directly from their webpage and I don't have to deal with a dealer. But Armstrong makes good brands. Icon from Harbor Freight has, for what they call a professional line, I've been demoing Icon's line of sockets and ratchets for the last year-ish since they've come out. I think they've been out for a couple of years now. And I can't break them. I've tried. I've got
you're a hardcore Craftsman person usually too.
Well, and I like old U.S. made Craftsman. As of late, the new stuff, I've already broke one of my 3/8-inch Craftsman ratchets, and I've got to send it in for a warranty, and I haven't done it because I'm going to call them up and do it over the phone. They just don't have the same warranty. Whereas like Icon from Harbor Freight is kind of filling that void where the old U.S. Craftsman was. Where I can just walk in the store and be like, "Hey, I broke it. Give me another," and they do. So,
just to drive you crazy, I'm doing this again.
I do 100% recommend that Craftsman set that I had recommended earlier. But there's nothing wrong with getting the Icon line from Harbor Freight or getting what you can afford. There are tools in my toolbox that I have that I picked up on a whim because I had one job to do like 10 years ago, and it was a cheap tool, and it did the job 10 years ago, and I've never touched it since. It would make no sense for me to go out and spend $300 on a Snap-on product that I'm going to use one time in every 10 years when I can get by with the $100 tool. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I just figured this would be a good question to ask because you've been in the mechanic world for a while, and
you will never go wrong with Matco, Snap-on, or Mac ever. They all make great tools. Or dang it, what's that other one? No, dang it, what's it called? Cornwell. They've been in the game for hand tools forever. They're all great, but they're Gucci. You don't need them. Buy them when you can afford them. But get good tools that you can exchange with a good warranty, like Craftsman, Husky, Tecton, and the new Icon light from Harbor Freight. I don't recommend their Pittsburgh stuff. It's all trash, minus their impact sockets. But the Icon line is legit. It's good. I've yet to break one of them, and I've been using them for the last year to work on this truck and my own personal vehicles. But if you can afford the nice stuff, buy the nice stuff if that's what you want. I do from time to time. But
Another question for you.
That's between you and your money. Power tools, Milwaukee's good. Makita's good. I hate DeWalt.
Now, while you're on the power tools, what do you recommend to have for any kind of power tools on a truck?
Half-inch impact, a half-inch impact, and a drill and a bit driver as far as power, and a leaf blower for power tools.
You know, leaf blower can save you on so many things. If you're running drive-in or even reefer, I mean, it'll save you the time of getting it washed out and letting it dry.
Oh, and shop vac. Gotta have shop vac.
Oh, I've got a tiny little thing that I picked up.
So,
it literally looks like it came from the Green Lantern movie.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
and it's full of dog hair.
And yeah, and of course your Nip-X pliers. You gotta have your Nip-X pliers. These things, amazing.
Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer out here for everybody. You don't have to have all this stuff when you first start. You can take your time getting it. That's the main thing to understand is you're going to build this stuff up over time.
Mm-hmm.
But having a general idea of what to get helps you understand what you should be buying as you go along.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I ask these questions.
Just buy it, just to get started, buy you a basic, oh God, there's a guy in our yard. Just buy you a basic mechanics road set. There's nothing wrong with that. It'll get you started. Gear Wrench makes a good one. Husky makes a good one. Craftsman makes several good ones. I mean, I've had several different types of cool toolkits on this truck. I've had a Craftsman set. I've had a Snap-on set. I've had Matco set. I've had Gear Wrench sets. I have a whole garage full of everything. So, like, what I keep on my truck changes depending on the season and what I've got to do or what I plan on running into on the road. So, it's not really a fair assessment.
Now,
I really should go to someday.
I've got an interesting one for you. When we get closer to winter, we'll talk about this again. So, This is something for you to think about. Tire sock, tire chain, cable.
Tire chain. Chains.
What is your specific reasoning?
100% chains. They don't tear up. Chains can also be used in the mud to get you unstuck and in dry conditions if you're stuck in gravel. And chains are just hardier and better as long as you put them on properly. Tire socks, can't run them on anything that's not snow. They'll shred. Cables, I've just seen too many times where they've just exploded and just all over the place. Tire chain, when it breaks, the link breaks and it falls off. So
I haven't had too much experience with it, so I can't tell you anything.
You're less likely to break a set of chains than you are a set of cables or tire socks. That's just my opinion. And the tire socks and the cables are 10 times more expensive.
I just figured it was something worth asking.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a good question. I prefer tire chains, and you only need tire chains if you're east of 35, basically, or what? Sorry, excuse me, west of 35. That's all you need them for.
Now, every state that requires them does list exactly what they require on their website for their DOT usually.
Some are clearer than others.
Right, but in general, they'll tell you kind of the bare basics of what they want.
Oh yeah, I just call the DOT for that state and be like, "Hey, what's closed?" Okay, cool, thanks, bye. Then I either go or don't go.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I want to mention. I mentioned to you multiple times, and you'll agree with it. I know you will because we've talked with this. So tire chains, they are not meant to get through the storm. They are meant to get you somewhere safe to park through and wait the storm out. I'm a firm believer of this. I will tell everybody I know this. I have only had to use cables before, but I mean, your take on that is pretty much the same as mine, right?
Yeah. You can find it up. Like this is thetrucker.com. Lists the states and what their chain requirements are in alphabetical order. So like you can find the information. It's not hard.
Right, but I figured it'd be something that, You and I should start up a list for seasonal tools, I guess. Or maybe you should, since you know more about tools than I do.
Gloves. Yeah, my number one thing, keep nitrile gloves on your truck. They work great when you're fueling. They keep that crap off your hands. They're great when you're working on the truck and you're doing oil changes, as long as you don't do what I do and just He-Man them and they explode and fall apart. Buy good nitrile gloves. They're awesome. Did you see that tire chain?
Yeah.
That thing. I want one of those. That's freaking wow. I've never seen one like that.
Talk about some traction. Jesus.
Oh. Wow. I like that. That makes me happier than what it should.
You might actually have to look up where those are and let everybody know.
I don't know.
We have homework.
Oh, and the other thing, tire chains, they're also based on the size of your tire too. And they make ones that go over both duals or one dual or whatever. So
I mean, if you're looking to spend a crap ton of money, they also make ones that drop down from your truck and just spin under your tires for your traction.
I would love some of those.
Yeah, it's a ridiculously expensive thing to do.
I've only seen one guy who has that on his truck, and I was jealous. Just for the fact of he just came up to the side of the hill, boop, they came down, started spinning and throwing sand, and away he went. And I'm there in the negative 10 degrees, slinging tire chain. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Just don't wreck before I get up there. Don't shut the pass down because you're an idiot. The usual. But no. Yeah, rather than do that, I'd recommend you just watch the weather and route around the storm. It's just usually quicker. You might be late. They might get mad at you, but
if it's too many miles and they're not, well, if it's too many miles and they're not paying you for those they won't pay you for those miles. I mean, definitely just keep an eye on the weather in the winter. There are so many apps out there. A lot of the states out there have their own app for the DOT, which will tell you what is closed.
So, but yeah, so old Tank says it's time for bed. He's over it.
Mine's just being weird. He's walking around. He's going under the bed. He's jumping up on the seats. I don't know, antsy for some reason.
Earl, can you sleep on your own side? Don't you huff at me.
No, you're part of his pillow system.
I guess so. He's got 6 pillows over there. You don't need any more.
Yeah, but you're a pre-warmed pillow. It's more comfortable. Especially how you keep your truck like a walk-in freezer.
Yes. So anyway, that's going to be the gist of this. We're pretty much done. Everybody's already bounced out of here, and it's it's 10 o'clock, man. Everybody's in bed. So we're going to go ahead and call this one.
Have a good night, everybody. Keep the shiny side up.
Yep. Have fun. We'll see you on the back haul.